Welcome to Protect and Grow with Chicagoland certified financial planner Tim Stearns of TJ Stearns Incorporated. Trust, respect, and results. TJ Stearns Incorporated focuses on comprehensive financial planning and benefits.
And welcome into the program. This is Protect and Grow Chicagoland Retirement with Chicagoland's certified financial planning professional, your resource, ladies and gentlemen, for a common sense approach to your money, your investments, and your retirement future. He is Tim Stearns, CFP, founder of TJ Stearns Inc. And Tim, always a pleasure to have you on the program. Got a lot on the agenda today.
Hi, Peter. It's thanks for having me. I'm ready to roll.
Absolutely. And Tim, we wanted to talk today about the important transition and the distinction, the difference between our income earning years, accumulating as much money as possible to then fund retirement in our preservation and distribution years. This is an area where, as we are working, there's not actually a lot of information and education about what will come next. But as a certified financial planning professional, you've walked people through this transition many, many times over. Most of us as individuals only do it once. So we need to get it right because there's no do-over or second chance at the ideal retirement, as you have put it. I want to remind you, ladies and gentlemen, before we get going, if you do have questions or concerns, you are welcome to give Tim Stearns CFP a call, talk those over, even set up a time for an individual and complimentary, no cost, no obligation review and planning strategy session, and get that Protect and Grow written retirement income plan in place, the proprietary plan that they put together there at TJ Stearns Inc. If you'd like to take advantage of that offer, give a call, 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256. So, Tim, sum it all up for us. How difficult is this transition?
Peter, one of the reasons I wanted to talk about this is, as you know, last week we talked about how many people are saying the 60-40 is dead. Meaning 60% of your money in a portfolio would be in stocks, equities, 40% would be in bonds. What we're seeing is that a lot of people are calling here and calling into the radio show as well. They're calling our office. They're attending our retirement classes quite a bit too, because they're worried about, are we going to have enough money? During a 13-year bull market, you don't worry about that, right? We're just printing money, literally, that just keeps building our portfolios. So that is asset allocation, okay? But when people are about to retire, or they have, or they are in retirement, the last day on your job or whatever you have in retirement is kind of what you have, unless you have growth in the market. Okay, that's number one. Number two, obviously, with inflation being high, that starts to erode even that. So the market being down is giving a lot of people pause to, what do I have in my portfolio that I'm getting hurt by the market and then also inflation? So how do we get a better way to do this in retirement? It's a transition.
What can I count and rely on being there for me in retirement, and what is it going to do for me? You mentioned the 13-year bull market run and that we were printing money. To me, that's a little bit of the chicken and the egg, which caused which, right? Is the printing of all that money what fueled the bull market run, or as a result of the bull market run, with an ever-expanding economy, do we need to print more money? Either way about it, Tim, it seems to have caught up with us with one of the important factors you mentioned, inflation.
Well, inflation's at the highest it's been since I was 10 years old. I'm 50. I'll be 51 in December. So basically, this is something that people are very, very concerned about. Something that costs a heck of a lot less is very expensive now. So how do we do that in retirement? You're a lot more cost conscious. The people that I'm seeing that are very concerned with that are the people that don't have a plan. We call them income allocation plans. A written plan is essential, very essential to having a good retirement. Having a plan is important so you know exactly where your money is, what it's doing, what's earning, what's not, what is going to pay the bills, what is your growth bucket, et cetera. I think a lot of people just have a bucket of money and they're hoping for the best. And that gives pause when the market starts taking its hits that it's done this year. So I tell anyone out there, if you do not have a written income plan, which 1 out of 10 Americans do, give us a call and sit down with us and help us do your transition from asset allocation to income allocation. It's a whole different ballgame when you're in retirement or you're entering into retirement.
What does that process look like, Tim? What documents do we need to gather? What do we need to have in place and be aware of and paying attention to in order to formulate that written retirement income plan, that protect and grow plan there with TJ Stearns Inc.?
Well, it's not that much of a daunting task. All right. You have to look at the fact that if you're going to go through retirement, you need to know what your bills are, what your guaranteed money is, pensions, Social Security, and then figure out what your gap is, and then back it into the amount of money that you have to see if you're able to do it. We've had to have that hard conversation with people and say, you know what, right now you can't retire. You have to earn some more money and put into that 401k, which reminds me that if you have had issues with your 401ks where the mutual funds took hits and you're over the age of 59 and a half, you're able to take your money out and put it into an IRA of your own choosing. Open up the world to all of the options that you can have in other portfolios with stop losses, with active strategic tactical money management. It's all the difference in the world. So what it looks like is we have people come in here, we give them a fillable document that will explain and we ascertain exactly what they have going on. Basically, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, what's coming in the door, what's going out the door as far as bills. Once we figure that out, then we would take a look at their investments to see what they're currently in. Most people, what we're seeing is that they're in assets that are correlated, like stocks and bonds, that when the market goes down, they go down heavy. I just had a woman in the other day. She had $500,000 and now it's down to $400,000. And she's your typical person that we've been seeing come in. They've lost about 20%. Have they gotten some of it back? Sure. But they're still underwater. And, our clients are not that way. Yes, we were down a little bit, but not down 20% by any stretch. So there's different ways to skin a cat, as they say. And we definitely think that our planning is above and beyond what people are getting at other do-it-yourselfer plans or at other agencies that are advising people in their retirement.
Well, Tim, it sounds like a good part of the reason why that is because you described a math equation, and most people have projections or assumptions. Within that math equation, there sounded like there were some unknown variables that you needed to figure out, but it didn't sound like it was based on hypothesis or hope or maybe or probably, or this is what we assume is going to happen into the future. Rather, let's drill down to the numbers and solve for those unknown variables.
Well, we always tell people to work in the know, KNOW, know that you're going to be okay. I just got done with my physical about a week ago. Luckily, all my numbers came in good. I was not enjoying that. I didn't want to do that. But I'll tell you what, I have a little skip in my step now that I've come back with good numbers, right? So that being said, this is not unlike that. You need to go to the doctor and figure out what you have. But back to your original question, is it projections, that type of thing? No, we work in certainties that you have this money to pay for these things and that you have a growth bucket to pay for other things like the trips that you want to do. Maybe you want to help out with weddings with your children, etc. Help out with grandkids' college, all that good stuff. We make sure that we have a plan. But again, back to the doctor analogy that I'm using, I didn't enjoy it, but I certainly enjoyed the end result because I know I'm okay. I would want to know if I'm going to retire, if I'm in my late 50s, early 60s, or even if I have retired, that I'm going to be okay. I don't want to find out when I'm 80, 85, that I've run out of money, that I have to go on, the state's dime to get to live, or worse yet, move in with one of my children. I don't want to do that to people. Who wants to be a burden on your children? have the state taking care of you. So these are all things that can be avoided, but you need to actually do the work to get it done. And I would tell anyone out there, come see us. We'll take you through the steps and help you get to it.
I heard kind of a motivational speech recently, Tim, that said success in life is about doing what we don't want to do. We want to be in shape, but we don't want to go to the gym. If you want to be in shape, you've got to do it anyway. We want to be healthy, but we don't want to go to the doctor. Well, if you want to know you're healthy, you've got to do it anyway. We want to be confident in retirement, but we don't want to pay attention to our budget or our money. If you want to be confident, you've got to do it anyway. You've got to do that work. And by doing so with the planning process, Tim, in retirement, we can actually achieve a very high level of confidence about retirement in working through the budget, working through the sources of income, strategizing on Social Security, and then working that math equation to figure out what we need from our money and how it's going to generate for us. It's not even a painful process. And I sometimes wonder why we do tend to procrastinate on it or avoid it when we do want to enjoy retirement, and we know that it is full of risks and uncertainties.
Right. And what better than to take out some of those uncertainties than to have a plan, and yes, plans don't go as planned, right? We know that life gets in the way. And at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you have most of your certainties taken care of. Is there some divergence? Sure. We had a client who had worked 28 years for a company just down the road, and he was planning on retiring when he got to 30 years. That was his whole goal. And at the end of the day, they let him go early. Well, his income allocation plan that we had done for him, we need to move things up 2 years. Another gentleman that wanted to retire at 65 had kind of a life scare and wanted to retire at 60. Him too, we had to move. Our plans are dynamic so that if life happens, we can move things around to make it happen, to make so that you can have a shot at an ideal retirement. If you're just an asset allocation where you're hoping for the best in the market, it's going to be a tough next 6 months at least, maybe to 9 months. The Fed has said that they're going to keep tightening money until they get this inflation under control. Until they do that, they're going to have to, the market is not going to do well. Historically, it's not done that. So that's what I'm saying, is that you need to make sure that you're working in the know and figure out exactly what you have going on. What is baked into your portfolio that could take a turn for the worse, and then you'd be in a lot of trouble.
Pick up the phone and give a call to get answers to those questions, to address those issues, to formulate the Protect and Grow proprietary written retirement income plan with certified financial planning professional Tim Stearns, CFP, founder at TJ Stearns, Inc. You can reach them at 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256 to ask a few questions, have a conversation over the phone, or set up a convenient time for you to meet with Tim, meet with the team, discuss your financial outlook, and formulate that plan. 800-640-2256. Once again, no cost, no obligation for radio show listeners, a valuable opportunity to get that plan put together. Tim, you mentioned 401ks, and that is the mainstay for retirement accumulation. For the majority of Americans, that's where we have the majority of our dollars. It's that, and then inside the roof of our home are our kind of two biggest typical assets. The 401k, you mentioned a couple things there. Not actively managed, typically. Right. It's a lot of times on autopilot, set it and forget it, kind of the exact opposite of actively managed. And then you mentioned stop losses. Another thing that the 401ks, another aspect that 401ks lack and don't provide is kind of a ratchet or a safety on the downside if we do enter turbulent markets or volatility.
Right. So if you're worried out there about whether your retirement's intact with the market getting hit like this, and then the next 6 to 9 months being choppy waters, you're going to want to have stop losses. You want to have active management. I had a gentleman tell me the other day, you know, I'm up 4% for the year, and it's just by happenstance. He said, I'm not skilled or anything. I don't know how I got this right. That's not the way to do it. I mean, you need to make sure that you know what you're doing.
I mean,
I
good
see
for
a lot.
him.
It's always, I'm very happy for him, you know, but at the end of the day, he just, you know, broken clock is right twice a day type of situation. And he laughed at himself.
So professed he didn't know exactly what he was doing, just kind of lucked out. But we don't want to luck out into retirement. We want to have that plan.
Right. And he's 2 years out. So he knew that he needed a plan. So we have people come in here and we go over exactly, you know, we try to uncover what's wrong, what could be wrong in the future. Estate planning is another issue. We have an estate attorney here, thankfully, that can look at that. A lot of people are coming in here with assets that don't have, you know, a trust, a will, power of attorney, healthcare directive. Then we have other people coming in here that they have no idea what their tax bill is going to be in retirement. They think, oh, I have, you know, $2 million in my 401k. That's what I'm going to live on. Well, guess what? Your partner for life, the IRS, is going to live on some of that too, right? So these are things that need to go into the plan. You know, if you haven't done that. And then the third thing that we have found is that many people, because of the 13-year bull market, have way too much exposure to equities. And if you have too much exposure to that, that could be devastating if the market really corrects. Right now, we're kind of on the backtrack. You know, it went down considerably with Ukraine and inflation being so high. It's kind of coming back. But I think it's going to be rough waters here for at least the next 6 to 9 months. What do you do about that? You got to be active, strategic, and tactical.
Again, if you would like to make sure that you have those qualities in your plan with your investments to help protect your life savings, pick up the phone and give a call to TJ Stearns Inc. and Tim Stearns CFP, 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256. Tim, you have mentioned on the program that the investment portfolio evaluation really helps to drill down and identify 3 major key areas where you often find deficiencies or imbalances: overexposure to risk, underperforming assets, and higher than necessary fees. All are things that can detract from our financial progress, derail our trajectory.
Yes. And you want to make sure that you understand what you're paying and what you're getting for that. You know, no one wants to be a sucker and, you know, pay for something that's not getting a value back. So what we show people is, you know, we analyze what they currently have and show them how they've done, you know, what we've done, and see if they like that. Usually they do, because they see that there's an alpha, meaning we're getting an advantage in the market. You know, it's not guaranteed by any stretch, but at the end of the day, you know, the proof is in the pudding, as they say. And so we're trying to show people there is a better way. The way you did things when you were working, that's fine, but let's move into the big leagues here and get a real handle on what's going to happen in retirement. The other reason I tell people to get with us is because if you have a spouse out there that doesn't have a clue what's going on, you need to bring them in here so that we can clue everyone in on what the plan is. I say this a lot, but 9 years ago, my father died. My mom always did the financial investments, and thankfully she's still around and she's still handling it, right? I help her, of course, because she's 92 now, but my dad would have been very lost and not knowing what's going on. So these are the other reasons that we talk about.
Again, aspects being included in the Protect and Grow proprietary plan. They're available at TJ Stearns Inc. from Tim Stearns CFP, that oftentimes are missing or omitted or overlooked in the traditional, typical Wall Street investment model. We're talking about the difference in the transition from an asset allocation oriented for growth to an income allocation plan oriented toward confidence in retirement. Pick up the phone and give a call, 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256, 800-640-2256. Tim, how difficult is it to make that turn and transition with our money and our investment accounts?
Well, if you're out there and you're worried, oh man, I don't want to have to do all the heavy lifting, we do that. You know, so we make sure that we get the paperwork straight. and we move it. You don't have to talk to your old advisor. You don't have to talk to any companies. We handle everything. So, I mean, the heavy lifting is done by us. We make sure it's done right. So an IRA moves over to an IRA. The Roth moves over to a Roth. Your joint accounts are titled correctly and move over as a joint account, etc. But I mean, I'm seeing a lot of people that maybe they have beneficiaries that are old. People have passed away. Maybe they're divorced. I've run into that. Or they've named their trust as a beneficiary, and that's a no-no, because the trust then becomes, if a person who owns an IRA passes and they leave it to their trust, it becomes income to the decedent, and then you are taxed at the trust rate. So a lot of people think that that's circumventing things, taxes and that type of thing. That is not. In fact, it steps up the basis. And then a lot of people, we're finding that they are not aware of the Secure Act. So if they leave it to their children or any beneficiary that is not their spouse, within 10 years, the account has to be drained. And most people do not know that rule.
Tim, it sounds like once we do the math, once we do the evaluation, it's actually not that difficult to make that transition. It's just something that we don't want to make any mistakes or missteps on. Right.
And nowadays with DocuSign and that type of thing, we don't even have to get with people. We meet with them over Zooms. I've worked with people all over the United States because of LinkedIn, with people retiring and looking at new jobs. So it's seamless. It's very easy to do. Why not have another set of eyes look at things? What are you paying for and what are you getting is what I always ask people.
Well, again, if you would like to have that Protect and Grow written retirement income plan, pick up the phone now. Give TJ Stearns Inc. and Tim Stearns CFP a call, 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256. 800-640-2256. Moving from that accumulation and growth mentality to an income allocation is about addressing the missing piece, income. Your paycheck supports your income and your investment plan during your working career, but the investment plan must support your paycheck and your ability to live confidently and pay your bills into and throughout retirement. It's a fundamentally different phase of money, a transition, a opposite behavior and need from our dollars. And we have to have a plan that reflects that change. And again, Tim Stearns puts that together for clients there at TJ Stearns Inc. and for radio show listeners. You can check it out. You can review and evaluate that Protect and Grow plan and then discuss how to go about implementing the plan. 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256. Tim, you make an offer for a valuable resource on this program. Many people have taken advantage of this offer and received the book Income Allocation, but there are still many, many out there who have probably not read this important retirement planning strategy guidebook. Income Allocation is something that you want to get in more people's hands so that they understand how to structure the assets to give confidence and provide for the ideal retirement.
The book is so good that now we use it in my retirement rescue classes as our curriculum. So it talks about active allocation of your investments. It talks about using annuities or something that's going to prop up where the gap is in your income allocation. And it talks, of course, about having an income allocation plan when you're going into retirement and why that's crucial. It's been proven that people that have plans sleep better, they feel better about retirement, they know they have a plan. That's what it's all about, is making sure that you're working in the know, KNOW, knowledge that you are going to be okay.
Again, if you would like to speak with Tim Stearns, have a certified financial planning professional help you review and evaluate your assets, your investments, your retirement accounts, and make sure that they are properly aligned to help replace your paycheck into and throughout retirement, and that is lasting, durable, dependable income that will last a lifetime. Pick up the phone and give a call. Tim Stearns, CFP, here as your resource, ladies and gentlemen. 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256. The first 10 callers with at least 500,000, you can get a copy of that book, Income Allocation, just for calling now. You can get that electronically, or you can get the physical copy in your hands. You can also attend one of those retirement rescue classes, educational opportunities for you to learn more about the challenges we face in retirement and how to address them specifically. Classes being held throughout the area, and you can find the time that is upcoming that is convenient for you. Give a call if you'd like the book, if you'd like to attend a class, if you'd like that independent review and strategy session from a certified financial planning professional. 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256. 800-640-2256. Finally, Tim, before we go, a lot of people don't actually have a whole lot of guidance or perspective provided on their 401k. If anybody wants to take a look at that, get a little bit of a review and some guidance on if they are properly allocated and taking advantage of the best options, that is yet again another complimentary, free of charge service that you provide there at TJ Stearns Inc.
We're happy to help people. If you're out there and you feel lost or you don't know exactly what's in your portfolio, give us a call and we'll take a look at what you have and give you some guidance on that. Your HR department, your human resource department will never help you because of the liability there. And also, I see a lot of people listening to Joe Blow at work who they think is smart, and that's not usually the right way to do it. So make sure you give us a call, who are a certified financial planner, practitioner, that we are able to help you and take a look at what funds you have. You might be overbalanced in something. You might be underbalanced in something. What do you have in your portfolio? After a 13-year bull market, give us a call.
Setting yourself up for and planning for retirement should begin on day one of work, certainly with $1 that we invest into those retirement accounts. Let's make sure that they are doing the right things. Give Tim Stearns CFP a call, 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256. Tim, always a pleasure. We appreciate the important reminder and the important information and education.
Peter, thanks for having me.
Tune into Chicagoland certified financial planner Tim Stearns' full radio program on 890 WLS every Sunday at 11 a.m. and visit tjstearns.com for many valuable resources, including other great episodes of Chicagoland Retirement. Be sure to subscribe.
Securities offered through TJ Stearns, a registered representative of Crown Capital Securities LP, member FINRA SIPC. The information presented on this program is provided for informational purposes only without warranty of accuracy, completeness, or suitability for particular purpose. This program is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, legal, or tax advice. This information is general in nature, not specific enough to be construed as advice. You should not make any decision based on the information presented on this program without independent consultation with an appropriately licensed professional or competent advisor. Investment in securities or the market involves a potential risk for loss of principal. Trading, therefore, may not be suitable for all listeners. Annuity guarantees are based solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing company. Withdrawals of growth from annuities may be taxable as ordinary income in the year it is taken. Individuals should review contracts for specific details of the product's features and costs.